So I'm back with part 2 of my Uni Blues Applying for Jobs in the Arts series. The first video I will put below, but yeah, in that video I was talking about particular websites I use and my experience since leaving and what I've been up to. I split this video into two because it is a really big topic, and I think even through this video I'm only sort of touching the surface of it, but let's continue. So another way I've been looking at getting sort of my foot in the door places is actually applying to galleries, not cold, but sort of building up a rapport with them, contacting them and sort of seeing if there's opportunities that way. Again, going back to what I was saying in my last video, that can be quite a mean feat, quite daunting, because, you know, they can ignore you, they can be like, no, we don't need anyone. But I think if you look at particular galleries, you're sort of sifting through what you want anyway. I haven't done this as much, but it is something I am considering because, I don't know, obviously some people would love to work with the big galleries like the V&A, the National Gallery, the Tate. I have worked with organisations like that in the past, and while it's great to have that on your CV, sometimes it can be a real challenge, and I think this is what I'm learning. I like to work with smaller teams, but as I said, that's what I've learned through doing things already. So yeah, so down below I'll recommend some galleries that but perhaps are a little bit smaller, but that I've looked at, and again these will be more sort of southeast based, but it's always good. And sometimes I've done just little work for them, like databasing, writing, exhibition prep, but it's all experience, and this is where it gets a bit difficult because sometimes that isn't paid, and for the majority, for me, it hasn't. But that comes back to the networking thing. I've definitely used it as an opportunity to network with people and actually connect to people I might not have had the opportunity to meet before. And that comes on to something else I've been doing throughout university anyway, but is writing for magazines, blogs, journals about art. I love to write. My dissertation sort of killed that for me, just because that was more, it was, well, way more academic and heavy. My way of writing is quite colloquial and candid, we'll say. I did English at school and was told I wasn't very good because sometimes I'm too visual, so sort of translating what's in here out, especially when you're sort of analysing books and stuff, was, well, a challenge, but that knocked my confidence massively because, well, I was and still am an insecure young lady. But I started writing, well, I started writing my own blog before maybe sort of halfway through foundation, and that was me myself setting up something, well, for myself. So from that I was able to sort of pick and choose what I wanted to do, and I was doing it at the time because it was, well, I say I loved it. I wasn't actually making any artwork, so for me it was a different way of feeding my creativity. But I was going to exhibitions, reviewing them, and actually sort of understanding how I write and how I see and how I translate that to through the written word, but also to an audience. And since then I've worked with a few magazines, mainly online, but I've been fortunate enough to be published in print as well, which is always exciting. Again, the majority of this is unpaid, so it's tricky about weighing up, you know, giving so much of your time to something. But I was doing this throughout university, so I think I sort of, I don't know, I like to think I was quite savvy with that because I was learning and doing, obviously studying as well, but I was able to sort of put it into my uni projects as well. But again, that all helps you build up a connection and like a body of people you can come back to, you know, if you're like, hey, just graduated, I've done this thing. And that sort of leads me on to the next sort of thing I've been trying to do is volunteering. Similarly to going to galleries and stuff, it's sort of getting our foot in the door of organisations. I'm not just looking at arts at the moment, I'm actually looking at charities as well. Things like mental health charities, so Young Minds and Mind, because I'm a real advocate for that, and I think, I don't know, it definitely feeds me in a different way, and I'm able to come across quite articulately, and I really do enjoy talking about something which is ever changing. That's quite exciting, and hopefully talking about it, you know, changes it and makes it changing it for the better. By that I mean What else? Galleries, go direct, hashtags. Indeed, everybody's favourite. I was always a bit like, with Indeed, but my dad is my dad, but he is very savvy with that sort of thing because he's in marketing. So I had a long conversation with him about it, and I think it's really worthwhile having a profile on that platform because it is more professional. And I say I used Instagram like a rolling CV, sort of LinkedIn, but there needs to be that level of professionalism. And I'm not saying I'm not, but on Instagram, when you are sort of, talking and swearing and things, but that's just part of my personality. I'm quite forward, so that is that. But on LinkedIn, you can also apply for jobs. It's a lot more corporate, I guess would be the word. A bit more, I say clinical, but that's not really fair because obviously some arts jobs are advertised on there. But with that, you're able to connect with other people, so you build up a network like that, albeit a digital one. But I've connected with people I've had. So if I had an interview at the South Bank, I've connected with people on LinkedIn after, so you're sort of part of their network. So they can keep track of what you're doing. You can sort of be like, hey, I've got the experience you needed. And maybe go back to them at a later date. This is what I've learned. It's always really important to sort of follow up with things like that. So say you do get rejected from a job, if they offer it, it's so important to ask for feedback. Sometimes they don't even offer it. So I had an interview recently and I actually had some really good feedback and it made me feel a lot better about myself. So I don't know, it's times like that where you sort of really need to, when you are down the dumps, to actually read back at that and think, no, I had this and I was at this level, but I wasn't quite right for them. Yeah. So I think I say I've covered everything, I haven't, but if there's anything else you want me to talk about in regards to that, just let me know, because I think it's, as I said, I've only really touched the surface with it. Yeah.